Hey guys, check it out. You're watching Jonathan Clarke on YouTube. Oh no! I think Ruby Rose Turner will forever and always hold a special place in my heart as my favorite Descendants character. There's no denial coming from me about that. I am the biggest Ruby Rose Turner fan in the world. For those of you who have been subscribed to this YouTube channel for forever, you know that I am the biggest Ruby Rose Turner fan in the world, and I have the biggest crush in the world on Ruby. Happy 20th birthday to Ruby Rose Turner today. Ever since last night, the first video premiered for Ruby Rose Turner's 20th birthday celebration, and I have never felt more honored to join you to talk about Ruby Rose Turner today. All throughout today, I will be uploading videos about Ruby Rose Turner right up until sunset, so if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, you're probably going to want to do that, because we have Ruby Rose Turner's birthday today, and tomorrow we have the birthday of Freya Sky happening on this YouTube channel, so I've got a lot of videos lined up ready to go for you guys. I've been uploading videos ever since last night, ever since midnight last night, so you're going to have to forgive me. I'm not even awake this morning, and I'm already uploading my third podcast this morning about Ruby Rose Turner's 20th birthday. I think I get really excited for Ruby Rose Turner's birthday because Ruby has forever and always meant so much to my heart. She became my favorite Descendants character of how she just randomly showed up in past Wonderland. It was just amazing how she just randomly showed up and said, "Hi everyone, my name is Bridget. Let's be kinder to everybody." And ever since she first randomly showed up in Descendants, I think she became everybody's favorite character because of just how genuinely kind she is. I think every single day of our lives we wish we could meet somebody as genuinely kind and as sweet as what Ruby Rose Turner was. So I really appreciated the randomcy of how Ruby just randomly showed up and said, "My only friend is Ella," and then she became friends with Red and Chloe, and I fell in love with her ever since. And that song, "Life is Sweeter When You Are," was a bubblegum song that got stuck in my head. If I told you that I haven't listened to "Life is Sweeter When You Are" over 1,000 times, I would be lying to you. I would be emphatically lying, but I have watched that movie over 100 times, and I've listened to that song over 1,000 times, if not hundreds, because of just how catchy it was. It introduces to over 12 characters in the franchise, and I think that the greater emphasis was given to characters like Aladdin and Jasmine, who were seen in this music video, because a lot of people really don't, tend to forget about how revered Aladdin and Jasmine's story is, and I think they would really offer a lot to the Descendants franchise, along with a lot of other characters. Like, I've forever wondered where Alice in Wonderland actually is in this franchise, and I think the door has never been more widely open for Alice in Wonderland to see her introduction into this franchise because of songs like "Life is Sweeter When You Are," a song that really put a stronger exemplification on just how much further kindness can go in a person's lifetime and how it can really touch a person's heart even when we least expect it. I think Ruby did a fantastic job putting a stronger amplification on just how much profound impact bullying can have on a person, because every single day someone is dealing with this. Every single day someone is dealing with peer pressure. So someone is dealing with a lot of peer pressure that they're going through in their own life, and I think this song really allowed us to put a stronger exemplification on just how much sweeter a person could be in our lifetime. She was the girl, undeniably, that taught us that life really is sweeter when we all are and we make a collective effort. And I think that when the news first broke that Ruby was parting ways with the Descendants franchise, I remember the reactions that people were throwing up on social media about Ruby parting ways with the Descendants franchise. Nobody ever wanted to let go of Ruby. Nobody ever wanted to see her go. And I've been heartbroken ever since. It was almost like I lost my best friend when Ruby parted ways with the Descendants franchise. I have to be honest with each and every one of you because of just how kind she was and how she lit up every room that she ever stepped foot into. And she really brought the best out of everybody she worked with. It wasn't just only herself that she brought a lot of the, 110% to the set of every movie or every TV series that she was ever a part of. Ruby just lit up every room that she was ever in. And she inspired so many people, because I like to believe that a lot of people are more kinder than ever before because of what Ruby Rose Turner offered to this franchise. And I, for one, believe that Ruby's story is far from over. I think there is always going to be a chance for Ruby to re-emerge, to, reprise her role as Bridget, because I think everybody just instantly fell in love with her and they became everybody's favorite character because of just how much further kindness became because of Ruby Rose Turner. I think that the color scheme of the character Bridget was beautiful. I think that nobody is ever going to be able to replace her, which is why I think more opportunities really need to come Ruby Rose Turner's way. Which is why I've forever been advocating for Ruby to be the live-action Rapunzel for the live-action Tangled, because this is a live-action that Disney can really never afford to make any mistakes with. I say this because I remember Rapunzel for being this iconic fearless character that didn't care what anybody thought of her. All she ever wanted to do was explore the world outside of her tower. And when she finally got the opportunity to do it, her curiosity sometimes got the better of her. But I think that these character traits are exemplified more than ever before because of a character like Ruby Rose Turner, because she can really bring this character to life. I don't care how many times we talk about Sabrina Carpenter in the conversation to play the live-action Rapunzel. Hands down, I would choose Ruby Rose Turner over Sabrina Carpenter any day of the week. I say this because it seems to me like the revolving door of who's going to play Rapunzel in the live-action Tangled has forever been changing, from Sabrina Carpenter to Dove Cameron the next minute. I think that if you're going to give this responsibility to anybody, it's got to be somebody who's very passionate about a character like Rapunzel and who can really bring her to life. And I think that Ruby Rose Turner is your best choice, hands down, the number one choice to be Rapunzel. And I would be center stage out in support of Ruby Rose Turner. I would be in the front row of the movie theater, the local movie theater, to watch this movie if Ruby was the live-action Rapunzel, because I think she can really bring her to life. And I think forever Ruby's been crying out for opportunities. I remember when this girl would be brokenhearted when she would audition for roles and she would be turned down for them. And I think she's been turned down for roles long enough now, because the roles that she's been given, she's done a fabulous job with. I mean, nobody could have ever brought that character Bridget to life the way Ruby did. She did it so emphatically, and along with showing us how much further kindness can really touch a person's heart and how a profound impact of bullying can have on a person's soul, she did such a fantastic job. And performing that song, Life is Sweeter When You Are, there's just something about Ruby's voice being on that song that gets me every single time. You know, there's a reported remix going to be happening for Life is Sweeter When You Are with Leomani Segura and Kylie Cantrell lending their voices to the soundtrack. You know, I've questioned that for forever, because I think there's just something about Ruby's voice being on that song that really caught everybody's eye. And ever since Ruby's voice was heard on that song, it caught everybody's eye and got everybody's attention. And everybody's been singing it ever since. They've been learning the dance routine. They've been so appreciative of what Ruby offered to the franchise, which is why I think she could offer a lot more in the way of a story, because this character's story was just only beginning, and now she's just parting ways with the franchise. You know, thank you for the memories, see you later. I think there's always an opportunity to see characters like Ruby reprise their role. I think we could close the book ever on Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson ever before we could or should on Ruby, because I really believe there is so much of a story left for Ruby to tell, and I'm just excited to see where we go from here with that story, because there's always an opportunity to write a new chapter. And I think that there are more fans of Ruby Rose Turner on social media than ever given credit for. There are people with these fan pages that are absolutely adorable, with photos of her, videos of her all the time. I just wish Ruby was more socially active on social media to keep us in the informative loop, because I think that celebrities that keep us in this informative loop are never given enough credit. Every day, I say this because every day Kylie Cantrell posts something on her social media pages to keep us up to date and in the informative loop of what's happening with her. She never fades off into obscurity. She's never like one of those celebrities like Dove Cameron, who took a reprieve from her career, and then everybody started saying you quit on your career, you gave up on your fans. Everybody was wondering where Dove Cameron was, and then from out of nowhere, Dove Cameron comes back after a 2.5-year hiatus without any explanation. Okay, I'm back. But Kylie Cantrell always keeps us in this informative loop, and Ruby Rose Turner is one of these celebrities that just kind of vanishes without any explanation. So I think that when Ruby posts something on social media to keep us up to date on what's happening with her, I think more people appreciate it. And there are more people in this world than are ever given credit for who are fans of Ruby Rose Turner. There are people with fan pages on X all the time, Facebook all the time. Social media is an absolute buzz when it comes to Ruby Rose Turner, because I remember when news was first announced that Ruby was going to be joining the Descendants franchise moving forward, and I was incredibly excited about it, because I thought her character was going to offer a lot to the franchise, and she most certainly did, because everybody felt inspired by Ruby. Everybody immediately started questioning, what was next for Ruby in the way of roles. People were saying she was going to be the live-action Rapunzel for the live-action Tangled. And I was thrilled, because I had remembered seeing all these live actions like Beauty and the Beast, and how Emma Watson did this beautiful portrayal of Belle, and she was the most lifelike Disney princess of all time. Then I remember Lily May playing Cinderella in the live action Cinderella in 2015. And I thought about all these iconic princesses being brought to life with such severity. And I thought about if Ruby Rose Turner was ever given the opportunity to play the live-action Rapunzel, which has been in popular demand by Disney fans for forever, I think that this would be an absolute buzz. It would create such a buzz on social media. The conversation would be at an all-time high. This is exactly what Ruby Rose Turner needs to happen for her career. I think that she's one of these stars that has never given enough attention. She's obviously garnering the attention of a lot of Descendants fans, and she's in popular demand. So I think she really needs to be given opportunities to really run with those opportunities, because her time on a show like Coop and Cammy Ask the World was very short-lived. It was a series that ended long before its time. So too was Girl Meets World. But I think the conversation has forever and always been a revolving door about who's going to play Rapunzel in the live-action Tangled. And as I've said many times, this is a live-action that Disney can really never afford to make any mistakes with, because of how iconic this princess was, how revered the Rapunzel character became, how fabulous of a job Mandy Moore did with this character. And obviously Mandy Moore is going to be watching on the sidelines and going to have an opinion about the live-action Tangled, and people are going to be asking her about, say, Ruby Rose Turner or Sabrina Carpenter playing the live-action Rapunzel, and she's going to have an opinion about it, because she's never shied away from her opinion ever since 1999. Ever since I've known Mandy, she's been someone who's been very outspoken about a lot of things. So I'm really interested to see how far Disney will go with this and take it, because it's going to go to places that we never ever thought possible. And I think the reviews, there are going to be a lot of mixed reactions by the time the live-action Tangled happens and finally drops. But I'm really excited about it, to be honest with you, each and every one of you, because I think that Ruby Rose Turner could have a profound impact on this live-action. And this is exactly what Ruby needs to have happen for her, especially with how much success she saw in the Descendants franchise. And, you know, moving forward with the Worlds Collide tour, I thought initially Ruby was going to be a part of the tour, and I was hoping that she was going to be a part of the tour, because I had remembered seeing her a part of all these stage productions for Descendants in the past, and remembering her for doing such a fabulous job. And I remember falling in love with her performance and seeing her being so passionate about this character that she had the chance to bring to life. I mean, she was playing the young Queen of Hearts. She was putting a stronger exemplification on just how sweet and kind a person actually was. But this was never an act for Ruby. The thing was, she just fit perfectly into this character, because she was just always a kind person. That was the thing that really stood out to me about Ruby, was that everybody else was just seemingly there for an opportunity. But Ruby was just there because she was just a sweet, genuine person who drew inspiration from the original Descendants characters and the original franchise. Because this was a franchise. Just think about it like this. You had watched this franchise for your entire life ever since the age of 9 years old. You had dreamed of being on a stage as your favorite Descendants character. And then you're finally given the opportunity to bring this character to life. Obviously, you're going to make the most of the opportunity and really run with it. And that's exactly what happened for Ruby. Kylie and Ruby had watched Descendants ever since the age of 9. They had been friends for forever. And now that friendship is on display more than it ever has been on social media. I can never seem to get enough of this friendship. I love seeing the photos and the videos they're throwing up all the time, the TikTok videos in the cafeterias they're in all the time when they're rehearsing for Descendants. I really love how they're so close, and they've never been far apart. And that's why I always say that when Kylie Control is crying on social media videos saying she's missing her friends, the thing she's got to realize is her friends are that much closer to her than she ever realizes. Like Ruby and Malia, they've always been forever supportive of Kylie Control. They've been there every step of the way for her, and they've been there for each other, which is something that I really, really appreciate, and I can never seem to get enough of. I think that these stars are so close, and I think that we've never seen a friendship that's been this close when you talk about it in this franchise. Because yes, the friendship between Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson may have been profiled, but was it ever profiled like Kylie Control and Malia Baker's friendship was, or the friendship between Kylie Control and Ruby? I think not. It seems like wherever they are, they're together. And that's what I really appreciate about them. They're hanging out, they're watching Shrek all the time, they're having slumber parties, they're having pizza parties, they're throwing up videos on social media. And the one thing that I love about them is I love seeing them have fun. Because I never get a chance to see them have enough fun, because of obviously they're under restrictions all the time. Disney makes them feel as if they're living out of a box, and I really wanted something more for them, which is why I always promised you guys that if I ever was the writer and producer of Descendants and Zombies, I would sign an executive order to lift all these restrictions that have been on your favorite stars for forever. You know, afraid of what you can and can't say, what you can and can't do, what you can upload on social media. I think that even if you leak something in a photo on social media, it just creates a buzz, and it creates conversation. Because if you leak a prop or a set item, obviously it's going to cause, you know, a lot of conversation on social media, and that's exactly what the writers and producers want to have happen for Descendants and Zombies. They want the conversation to be an absolute buzz and at an all-time high, and there's no better way to do that than by leaking a photo on social media of a prop or a set item. I think that's the way you have to look at it. Now, obviously, Disney doesn't look at it like that because, of course, we're a year away from Descendants 5 Book of Wonderland dropping, and it will create a lot of predictions and theories on what's going to happen in Descendants 5 Book of Wonderland. Obviously, Disney can't ill afford to have anything leaked. But I think that as a writer and producer, you just got to have creative energy. And because Disney is lacking in creative energy from time to time as the years go by, it seems as we become more advanced with technology, the lack of creative energy and illustrations is never there. So because the lack of creative energy is never there, the thing is, Disney is just afraid they're going to leak something, and it's putting a lot of pressure on the shoulders of these stars. I don't think that anyone should ever be afraid of posting something on social media, because it only creates a conversation, and that's what you want for Descendants of Zombies. And it just goes to show that the creative energy is just never there all the time for these stars. What you need are innovative minds, and you need a creative energy in a room every single time that you put forth ideas for Descendants of Zombies, because when you really think about it, there are thousands of ideas that can be put on a table, that can end up on a table for a conversation about a new storyline in Descendants, like Hercules, or The Little Mermaid, or Halloween Town, or Pirates of the Caribbean. I've often wondered, where is the son or daughter of Jack Sparrow? Where is the son or daughter of Jack Skellington? The son or daughter of Hercules? Because I was a really big fan of Hercules. I was a big fan of the video game on the original PlayStation, July 3rd, 1997. I played that video game for the first time. I loved it. I've been looking for a copy of Hercules for forever. I still haven't been able to find it, but I would imagine it's pretty high up there in price, the value of it, because of course it was released in 1997. Disney had this really cool era where they would actually release video games on their most popular franchises like Hercules and Aladdin and The Little Mermaid, and I remember playing the video games. Ever before I watched the movie, I would play the video game. Then I would watch the movie after I played the video game, because I was a really big video game fan when I was a kid. Everything on PlayStation that you could have, I had, from Crash Bandicoot to Spyro the Dragon. So Disney had this really cool era and way about them, and I forever said that, characters from Descendants of Zombies could inspire some of the most successful video game franchises of all time. Just imagine if you could play out the story of Red and Chloe and Bridget. That would be really cool. And pick your favorite Descendants character to play, kind of like a Dreamlight Valley experience. And I actually just saw the Dreamlight Valley showcase the other day on social media, and it looks really cool. But I think Disney's focus is more on characters now than it is on, franchises and the development of video games and merch. And that's why people are so critical of the Descendants merch and the quality of it. But I think for what the merch was at the Worlds Collide Tour, it was fabulous. I always wanted to get my hands on one of those hoodies. They look really cool. And how Bridget was so happy to see her doll for the first time ever, that was something that really stood out to me too, because she was so appreciative of this character and what it had meant to her heart. That was something that really stood out to me about Ruby, was that she was just so appreciative of this character and the opportunity and the chance that it presented for her. She had the opportunity to bring this character to life. Everybody fell in love with this character, and it was because of how Ruby brought her to life. Anybody else playing this character, I've got my doubts about. I don't care who you bring in to replace Ruby Rose Turner. Nobody will ever replace her in my heart. She was always a beautiful character. Bridget was a character that everybody fell in love with and is never ever going to forget. I think Leah Segura is going to do a fabulous job as Pink and present a lot of controversy in the storyline for the first time ever. But I really do believe that there is more of an opportunity for Ruby to return, especially with how revered her character became and how she really touched the hearts of everybody that she was ever in the room with and in the presence of. I think that she became everybody's character because of just how sweet she was. There was just something about her voice being on that song, Life is Sweeter When You Are, that I could never get enough of. The song was the catchiest song ever. It got stuck in my head. I've listened to it 100 times, if not 1,000. And I'm surprised I haven't got noise complaints from listening to that song. But there was just something about that song that was just so catchy. And that's why it became the most revered song on the soundtrack, because of how catchy it was. I mean, I could listen to that song over and over and over. And I've memorized every lyric of that song from beginning to end. There was just something forever and always about Ruby's voice being on the soundtrack, and I think that no matter how many times you try to remake a song like Life is Sweeter When You Are, as beautiful as Kylie Control's voice may be, I think this was a song specifically written for Ruby. Because when you talk about music, you've really got to have an ear for music and really know what you love and what you want. And I think the fans of Descendants and Zombies have a greater appreciation for music, and they really have an ear for music. So they're going to hear this remix of Life is Sweeter When You Are if it happens, and they're going to know how they feel about it. And they're going to let the fans, everybody know how they feel about it. And I think there's going to be a lot of conversation about this remix. Now, without a doubt, it's probably going to be just as catchy as the Life is Sweeter When You Are original remix. But the thing is, I think that there's just something about Ruby's voice that has forever meant so much to this franchise, and being a part of everything that she was a part of, and just how appreciative she was, that makes her very different from every other character. Because I think about how Dove Cameron just kind of looked at it as an opportunity for more exposure. I think about how Sophia Carson looked at it as her first major breakout role. But I've never seen that from Freya Skye. I think Freya Skye would just love to be Nova for the rest of her life. I think that is more of an appreciation value coming from these stars now than ever before, which is really what stands out to me about people like Ruby Rose Turner and Freya Skye, just how passionate they are about these roles, whereas Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson pretty much just looked at it as an opportunity to make the most of. Like, Adventures in Babysitting for Sophia Carson was her second major role since the success of Descendants. And I think ever since, Descendants, Claudia Cantrell and Ruby Rose Turner have done such a fabulous job with their careers. It really allowed them to really make the most of every opportunity they were ever given. And I think this is going to open up more doors than ever before. But, honestly, I don't know how they're going to be able to do Descendants and Zombies without people like Ruby, because they offered so much to the franchise. I will forever miss Ruby Rose Turner being a part of the Descendants franchise, and I think I'm not alone on that, because I think I have more people who are fans of Ruby who watch these videos every single day than they ever admit to. So if you are a fan of Ruby Rose Turner, I think you're going to want to subscribe to this YouTube channel, and you're going to want to ring my bell to stay up to date with notifications on this YouTube channel, because I have a lot of things planned over the next couple of days and several weeks on this YouTube channel. We've got Freya's birthday happening tomorrow, and I've got one more video to upload before sunset tonight, so I'm inviting you cordially to join me for the final video on Ruby Rose Turner, which will drop sometime between now and sunset tonight. So if you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, you're probably going to want to do that, because Ruby Rose Turner will forever and always hold a very special place in my heart. This is my third video, and it's only 9:29 a.m. this morning, if you can believe that. So I will be back later on tonight. Thank you guys so much for all the love and support you've shown this YouTube channel. Thank you guys so much, because life really is sweeter when all of us are. Happy birthday to Ruby Rose Turner. I've got more to say on this and keep the conversation going for just a little while longer. Don't forget to ring my bell to stay up to date with notifications as we celebrate the birthday of Ruby Rose Turner.